Welcome to the inaugural episode of What's Worked for Me. My name is Sean Scanlon, and what this video series is designed to be is short, very simple, and hopefully impactful content around, I think, a topic that it means by far and away the most to me, which is around mental health. I myself am someone, like many others, who have dealt with things like depression and anxiety, and for myself personally, it's something that I've dealt with for over 20 years. And along the way, I've learned a lot of lessons. And just recently, especially over the last 2 years, my life has taken a positive turn and towards a trajectory that I didn't think was really even possible. And again, knowing that this has been a lifelong battle for me, I've obviously learned a lot of things that have helped me. And as someone who likes to create content, I wanted to try to make sure that as I continue to build on creating my content, that it is authentic to me, and I think something that I could bring value to others. And this was a perfect idea for me. And by no way, shape, or form is this channel, or this series rather, supposed to be me getting on a stage and telling people what they should do, or me prophesizing certain truths. By no way, shape, or form is that it. I am not a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a therapist. What I am is just someone who's been through a lot over the last 20 years and has tried certain things that worked and tried certain things that didn't work. And I thought, what better way for me to, again, continue to try to build on creating, continue to scratch that itch, but ultimately make sure that, again, there's value brought to others. And so that's what this is. And again, the big piece about it is these videos are 5 minutes or less. So hopefully everyone's got 5 minutes. So the first topic that I wanted to talk about, by far and away, it's the most important lesson that I learned throughout everything when it comes to improving mental health. And it's the topic around ownership. And what I mean by ownership is a lot of the times for folks who, like myself, who struggle with depression or struggle with anxiety, a lot of the times it's caused by outside sources. So again, whether you struggle with maybe getting bullied, like I did when I was younger, or whether you struggle with the loss of the family, or whether you're depressed because of losing a job, a past relationship that didn't go that work, or whatever, or maybe it's a chemical imbalance as well, right? That's a big part of it too. The thing that I had to learn was that no matter the circumstances that was causing me to be depressed, for the longest time I would blame that, right? And I would hold on to that. Someone or some people were bullying me, that's why I'm depressed. And it became my identity, it became something that I was powerless over. Or again, going to see I know a lot of folks where they struggle with a chemical imbalance, where they're just not naturally producing maybe certain levels of serotonin or etc. Where there's just a natural chemical imbalance. Again, something that along a large part of my time, I was blaming those things, and it felt again that there was nothing I could do. It was when the switch flipped, when I finally came to terms and finally accepted that if I was going to get better, if there was ever going to be a point in my life where my depression and anxiety didn't run my life, the only way I was going to get there is if I truly owned everything about it. And so that was the biggest lesson, was that once I fully and firmly grasped the concept of owning my mental health, that's when, again, the spark lit, and I realized that if I owned it, that ultimately means I can control it, right? I might not be able to control the events happening to me, but I can control the reactions to those events. I can control the actions that I take in response to that. So again, if it's a chemical imbalance, making sure that I'm going to therapy, making sure that I'm watching my diet, making sure that I'm taking the right supplements or the right medication to combat that. But ultimately, if I own it, I can control it. And if I can control my mental health, that means I can actually change it. And if I can change it, that means ultimately I could escape it. And that was the biggest lesson that I learned, and probably the most impactful one for me, that have caused the evolution of my mental health to go in a positive direction, which is choosing to believe and fully come to grips with that no one else owns my mental health besides me, and it's up to me to own it.